In this video, I'm going to overview the problem-solving strategy that we use in physics, called GRASP. You're going to need to use GRASP on all your long answer and written questions. So let's go over what you need to do. The first thing that you'll need to do is write out what's given. You read the question, you identify what is known, and you write that down. If you need to make a diagram to keep everything straight, that's also a great idea. The next thing that you'll do is write down what's required. This is what you're trying to find out. So if the question is asking, for example, the displacement, you'll write down a D and a question mark. The next thing you'll do is an analysis. You'll select and write down the equations that contain the variables listed in the question. Step number 4 is the solution. You'll manipulate the equation from the formula sheet, isolate the variable if that's necessary, and substitute into the formula, always including units. You'll give your answer with the correct number of significant digits. The last step is to paraphrase your answer, just writing your answer in a sentence. So let's take a look at an example to see exactly how we do this. For example, we have a question that says a student uniformly accelerates from 15 meters per second to 35 meters per second west. What is the rate of acceleration if the displacement during this time was 43.0 meters? So the first thing we need to do is write down what's given. We know that the initial velocity is 15 meters per second. We know the final velocity is 35 meters per second. And we also know the displacement is 43.0 meters. It's also a really good idea to write down some kind of claim like, let west be positive. You can set the direction to be positive whatever you want, as long as you're consistent throughout the question. The next step in the GRASP is required. So we're going to write down what we're required to find. In this case, it's the acceleration. So now that we've got all those different variables, we need to figure out what formula that we're going to need to use. So we'll have to look at our formula sheet. So looking at our formula sheet, we know that we have the final velocity, we know we have the initial velocity, and we know we have the displacement. What we're looking for is the acceleration rate here. So this is the formula that we're going to use. So what we're going to do is write that formula down, and then we're going to have to rearrange the formula for the variable that we're trying to find, which is the acceleration. So manipulate that formula, and then we're going to substitute into the formula. We see that the final velocity was 35 meters per second, the initial velocity was 15, and the displacement was 43. So it's very important to include your units when you're substituting your work. That way you can see that everything will cancel. We see that we've got meters per second squared minus meters per second squared, and if we divide that by meters, what we're going to end up getting is meters per second squared. So we figured that out. We find our acceleration. It's 11.6 meters per second squared. Since acceleration is a vector quantity, we have to include the direction, which is west. And then the last step in GRASP is to paraphrase our answer. And that's it. That's how you use GRASP to answer your long answer questions.